Warning, this podcast may contain bad language and content that some listeners may find offensive.
Yep, that's absolutely true. He's put his glasses on. Fucking hell, he's serious.
Wow, you can see that as well.
I know I can see that.
Yeah.
People on
Well,
Twitch can see
self
that.
I
quickly
also,
and
yeah,
mm.
Well, for people on Twitch and those who are unable to see his camera, he just put his glasses on like a super serial man.
they're new glasses, so I thought I'd show them off.
They're
I
looking
assume
at
you
you.
always wore glasses, to be honest. You know.
Since my cataract operation, I don't tend to use them
Ah,
looking at the computer and stuff anymore.
okay.
They look nice though. Your new ones look nice. Similar to your old ones, but a little bit thicker, which I
Yeah,
like.
they are. They're a bit like wider, the lenses and stuff.
Yeah.
Wow, glasses chat. Also interesting
Yeah.
stuff. We've gone from horrible war, which luckily didn't make the intro, to glasses.
Yeah. Cover all the bases.
I think people be interested in your glasses. Do you get the lenses like thinned down so they don't look like really chunky? Because I assume you need like super thick lenses.
Well, here's what happened. I
Mm.
went to the opticians. I realized we haven't even done an intro yet.
No.
Yeah.
Do you want me to do the
Insert
intro?
intro.
Yeah. Welcome back to Seesaw Podcast, the delayed glasses story that is podcasts. Cleaves, so what happened with your glasses?
So I went to a new opticians because my old one is now far away from where I live. And I basically wanted some new glasses. They told me all about my new prescription. And so my old frames were basically a pair of black Ray-Bans. And I went in and I said, I basically want something similar because they're the only sort of things that suit
Mm.
me. And they're like, here you go, try these. And they were fine. So I picked them and they were like, oh, your frames are going to cost like £144 or something. And I was like, okay, they're Ray-Bans, that's
Okay.
fine. I'm going to wear them
Yeah.
every single day.
Mm.
Anyway, what they neglected to tell me until the final price came in was that each individual lens also cost the same amount of the frames.
Oh, okay. So that's a 400 plus
It was
bill.
about £440 all in, yeah. So I had the lenses plus like the eye that they fucked in the operation now
Mm.
has the strongest prescription possible.
Mm.
Uh it was a case of look at the board. Can you read any letters on the board? And I'm like, there's a board? Uh,
I've been there. I've been there, brother.
it wasn't that bad actually, to be fair. I couldn't make out the top letter, but then with the strongest prescription, I could at least tell there was a letter there, just not
Okay.
what letter it was.
Okay.
So
Ah,
there's that, yeah. And then I had them all like thinned down and stuff because the left one particularly would have been a chunky
Yeah.
mother. And then, you get like a UV filter on them as well and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So that's an extra 20 quid per lens. But yeah, it's not a cheap hobby. I understand why people get private medical care, that's for sure.
Do you not get like some discount for being like, I don't know, I feel like I have a vague memory of when I wore glasses a long time ago. Is he got some NHS prescription discount? But obviously, you have to pay extra if you want nice frames and stuff.
Yeah, you do as a kid.
as a kid, yeah. Under 16 you
Oh,
can,
Mm.
but
you're
then
not as
when
an
you're
adult.
no, as an adult you're not. If you are on benefits, the government will pay for them, but you do only get the shitty
Yeah.
frames because
Yeah.
when I got not these ones, but the ones before that, I wasn't working at the time. And even then I bought frames because I was
Mm.
like, these are all shit. Like brains from Thunderbird shit, like
Hey,
bright
that
blue
that looks
plastic.
in now, man. Oh, maybe not bright blue. I
Not
did get
back
offered
then
a
it
pair of
wasn't.
blue ones, but
Yeah, but blue doesn't go with everything. Black does.
yeah, it's
No,
true.
blue does go with most things. That's the next best color to match stuff.
Is it?
I reckon so.
Huh. Well,
What
in
does a
any
blue
case,
go
no, I'm just trying to move
Yellow?
us on from fashion because we haven't got a fashionista with us.
with?
Um, the more important point, new prescription, has it helped the cataract?
I would say it's probably slightly better for the distance version like stuff, but
But still not as good as before.
oh no, my eyes still worse
Wow.
than before.
Well, sue the NHS, mate. They've done fucked you.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because that's not on. That's not on. But I don't know. Maybe we'll see what happens in the future. Selena, how's things with you? No new glasses, I see.
No, no, not yet. Who knows with all this technology coming out?
I'll be covering some glasses very shortly, which you might find
Mm,
interesting.
Have you
mm,
ever, like, even though you can't see your own eyes, Selena, have you ever thought,
yeah.
I wouldn't mind putting coloured contact lenses in just to mess with people?
Um, no. I did used to wear contacts when I was younger before because I was a bit of a snob and I didn't want to wear glasses. It's like when I was like 7 or 8, I was in contacts, but not coloured ones.
Hmm.
Okay.
I also had those, but I didn't get on with them because they weren't any of these fancy, now like they've got like plastic, they like some of them dissolve, some of them you keep in one day, you know what I mean? They're
Mm,
all about comfort. When I had them, I must have been like 11, 12, secondary school, didn't want to be the nerd with glasses. So I
yeah.
said, oh, I can have contacts. And they were like, yeah, but they won't be the same as what other people have. If you think you're getting those sort, the answer is no. I'm like, okay. And they were just fucking huge, chunky pieces of glass. Like,
Yeah, they were a bit
really,
chunky.
yeah,
Hard contact lenses, I think there were.
yeah,
Whereas I think the cool ones are soft contact
yeah.
lenses.
And you never get used to the hard ones. They lied to me and said, oh, you will get used to them. I'm like, after a year, still not used to them. You're still putting a piece of glass in your eye. And I'm like, then I stopped. I was like, this sucks. Like, they hurt. Like, after a few hours, it's just like, this hurts. I've got glass in my eye. So I was just like, nah. And I tried checking like a few years ago, to see if the tech was any better. And at that point, no, they're just like, no, they'll just be hard lenses again. I'm like, nope,
Mm.
I'm not interested. I'm not. So ah, well, anything else new with you other than your contact lenses story?
Riley got the all clear. I don't think I shared that.
Woo!
That
So
is
that's
good.
good news. So he's all good. He had his first back day at work today. Well, it wasn't really a day back at work. We went to Sainsbury's. Um,
So
which
no.
was no, I didn't walk to Sainsbury's or anything. That was just going from the car into Sainsbury's. um,
I thought you rode him.
but yeah,
Oh,
he's
that's
on the.
good.
It's all good.
That is good. And Ted has
Too.
retired
I guess
in
I
old
am.
news. Ted has
Oh,
retired.
like proper.
Proper retired.
Oh gosh, what's going to
Yeah.
happen to Ted?
He's staying with me.
Oh,
Leave factory.
Originally,
forever.
yeah. So originally that wasn't going to be the case. And I said, like, we can't afford to keep him. Just because I know how expensive they can be, especially
Yeah,
when Western got on well, that got very expensive. I
yeah.
saw the invoices. I was like, I can't afford him. Like, I just can't. And they went, okay, well, see if you can find someone else, and then we'll start with our backup plan, pretty much. Yeah, dog food factory. And then they called me back like an hour later, and they just went, "Oh, if he stays with you, we'll pay for his vet and food for the rest of his life." Which
Good.
which I thought was great, but also they never came out to do an assessment.
What? They
They
didn't even come out and check him to actually see if he is proper broken.
no, no,
Brilliant.
no, they never came out.
What?
I've not had no aftercare visit since qualifying with him. That was like nearly 3 years ago.
Oh my
I
God.
flagged the issues with them, never heard back from them. And then this was just like the last straw. So I told them the situation, and they were just like, "Oh, it doesn't sound like we can fix him. Do you feel safe with him?" I'm like, "Absolutely not. Not in certain like circumstances. Like, absolutely not." And they're like, "Oh, okay. Do you want to just retire him then?" I was like, "Well, I don't really want to work him. It's getting dark now, and I haven't got faith. Like, when the rest of my site goes, that's it. Like, I need him to be on it, like 100%, and I have no faith in him to do that." So I was like, "Well, no." I don't. And then they're like, okay, we'll retire him then. And then the fact that they're willing to pay his expenses just made me think, you knew he was a dud, didn't you? You knew he was a dud. You're happy to get a couple of years out of him, but you're like, oh yeah, here we'll pay for him. Just to keep him with you. We don't want anyone else knowing how shit he is.
Maybe that's why they can't afford to do an assessment because they're too busy paying for food and vet bills for a pet.
Yeah,
He's
I
like
know.
4. How old is he? 4? 5?
5 soon. Soon be
Soon.
5.
Wow.
Yeah. And they were like, do you want to have another one? And I was like, don't have this conversation with me now.
Do you know what
Com
though? I read on a Facebook group yesterday that they're doing away with the PRT training.
Good.
Apparently, with the latest puppy raisers, there's some changes coming.
Like the Catholic Church.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
So
I'll see in a year. Like at the moment, like things are going to be no different. I have no faith in their ability to train dogs at the moment. I'm sure
I
there's
bet
some
they're not
great
even going to come and
ones.
take the harness from you, are they?
Ah, they are. They're taking the harness next week.
Okay, but they could have checked the dog at the same time
Yeah,
and
that
taken
surely. I'm surprised they didn't
Yeah.
actually just mail it back, send you like a yodel label, drop it off
Yeah.
at your nearest pickup point.
Yeah. So no assessment, like nothing like that. And yeah, it's all done now. Now he's retired, and they said like don't use his harness, even though you have it, don't use it. Because like we're basically pulling his guide dog like public liability insurance. So if you're working him and he hurts you or he hurts himself or someone else, like we've retired him on the books. So you are not covered. So do not use him.
You need to request a retired guide dog flash for the lead.
Yeah, I think I will get one. I got one with Wes when they picked up his harness. So
Mm.
Amazon £2.50.
yeah.
RNIB £55.
AliExpress 20p.
Yeah. You'll get
Or
it in
that
one
does
to
say
two
gold
years.
dog on it. Ah, and other than that, I fell down the stairs
Oh
this
yeah,
evening.
it's all happening, isn't it?
Yeah, I've got like some
Did Ted not tell
deckings.
you where they were?
He was already down them. Like he fucking moved.
I thought you could say he pulled you down there.
No,
That's why he's
Uh,
retired.
Yeah.
but no, I've got like decking, and they've got wooden steps going down to like the grassy bit. And I've taken him out after his dinner, and I know it's been raining, and I know they're slick, so I was taking it steady. Yeah, I don't want to fall down them. And then just halfway down, my foot just went, like even being careful, it just went and I hit them hard. They're made of wood for fuck's sake. So I hit them on my side and just bounced to the bottom. And
You want to be
I'm
careful with that, mate. You can occasionally go to hospital for like broken heels for that kind of shit.
yeah, well, the night ain't over yet. My ankle is killing me. My wrist is killing me. I can
You need to
still move
elevate,
my.
elevate your ankle, not your
I
wrist.
can't do that while I'm doing a podcast. That'd be a really weird lying on my
Elevate your
side.
wrist, hold your hand up like you're fancy.
Woo! No, so yeah, it's been one of those days.
Hmm.
Okay, well, let's let's actually do some podcasting, shall we?
I've got quick bad news.
I was going to say, have we got anything
Oh,
again?
wow. Okay.
I know,
And you put
right?
it at the start this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's only been 4 years.
Okay, so this is obviously America. Police pull gun on visually impaired Uber passenger.
Right.
This
Oh, I'm
this
not
is
allowed to ask questions.
well, I don't need to be asked questions. I'll just tell you. This was after the NFB convention. I think it's a big blind thing out in America.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's raised some questions as of recent times from what I hear.
Mm.
He
So,
knows.
oh right. Well, anyway, a group of visually impaired friends that went to this convention ordered an Uber. One of them was a guide dog owner. They all get in, and I don't know, until they were in the car, the driver didn't realize there was a guide dog in the car or a animal, and ordered them to get out. I think this involved some of the driver trying to drag the guide dog owner and the guide dog out. This other person, friend, stayed in. Eventually, the guide dog owner got out with the guide dog, but this other passenger stayed in so the driver wouldn't drive off. Police was called, and suddenly the visually impaired passenger was the one who was having the gun held up to them because the driver said that he was scared of said person. Got very messy.
Wow.
Mm. Well,
I assume
that's
that's
of
told by the visually impaired person's point of view,
course it
but
is.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
and I'm not like sort of victim blaming or anything there. I'm just saying it'd be nice to hear it from both sides. But that
Yeah.
does sound really bad to her.
Yeah. And the one thing that I will say is I don't know what the laws are for guide dogs in America because they have different organizations. They don't have a unified legislation necessarily like we do because we only have one organization. So I think it varies from state to state on what you can and can't do. So for all we know, the Uber driver's well within their right to
Oh,
say,
I don't think he was by the sounds of it. But further down the article, on
yeah,
said article, it says, yeah, it states on the Uber whatever website app about
mm.
service dogs being allowed.
And that's
Um,
why the visually impaired person only gave him a 4.5.
I mean, that's just as bad as a 1 star now.
Yeah.
Anything other than a 5 is a
Just
negative
dragged his
review.
whole rating down to like a 4.7.
I know. Devastated. Well, that sucks, but I won't have to deal with that again.
That quick blind news wasn't as quick as we thought it
Sorry.
was.
No,
Yeah.
it wasn't.
Just
We can
it
keep
needed
Medium
it.
blind
context.
news.
Needed context.
Yeah.
All right, let's do.
Ah, all right. Let's get to the topic unless Cleves has some QVN.
I do not.
Excellent. So this week, there's been a few things popping up. We've alluded to a few stories, some concepts in the past. And although I don't want this to be just a reviewing of technology, I thought that it might be a good idea to go into technology versus medical treatment, I guess. Anyway, the point of it is with technology come in leaps and strides, and I have a lot of examples. Is it necessary for there to be any effort into curing disability? I'm not saying stop, but like not necessarily with blindness either, but generally all disabilities where there's treatments and things like that. With so much coming through technology wise and how quickly things are moving forwards in the last 3 or 4 years, is that the basket we should be putting our eggs in? Because it seems a bit more uh, positive, I suppose, the outcomes of it. So I thought this would be a little bit of a fun discussion. And I do like my technology. And shout out to Sam of The Blind Life, who has reviewed a couple of the things I am going to be bringing up. So
I can start if you want,
you
because
can you can start if you want.
you hear a lot about, technology billionaire tyrants like Elon Musk. He's possibly not a tyrant.
Just
I don't
quickly,
want to.
did you hit record?
Sure, we did
Yeah.
ages ago. Ah.
Gee, why are you making me doubt things now?
I know it is being recorded. I can see it. Okay.
What a
Oh, it must have been before I joined the call. That's why I was like, oh shit.
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
You sure you didn't get concussion when you fell down the
Am I still down there? I don't know.
It's all a dream.
Yeah. Okay. Elon
Right.
Musk. Go.
Okay, I'll start. Elon Musk, billionaire, puts all of his money into like Twitter and all that kind of stuff, X, whatever. But, he's also putting things into new technology as well. And it's these famous people that have hundreds of billions of pounds that are putting stuff into technology that it's the kind of thing that it will help, well, eventually, just regularly abled people as well as disabled people. Whereas medical research is specifically for people that are, you know, should we say, hindered in some way by some sort of disability.
Hmm.
So the technology company kind of has a vested interest to make it more widespread, and also it's predominantly to make money. Now, I'm not saying that the medical research isn't, because, it's going to be charging the NHS through the arse for things like that when it finally does get clearance. But I would say technology has to deal less with that sort of stuff. It's there simply to make money, and that is open and honest about that. It doesn't have to be like a backdoor thing. So if anything, they're a bit more in the open. It's got a bit more publicity. It's got a bit more public backing, I would argue. So potentially we should put things our eggs in that basket a little bit.
I agree. I think, especially like with Elon, for whatever opinion anyone has of him, he does have a bit of an altruistic look on life. Like he does want the world to be better. He's very big into his environmentalism. You look at Tesla, the company that was founded on getting rid of fossil fuels. And even with, and we will go into Neuralink a bit more because that's what company he's co-founded. But it is very much being tested on people with disabilities for the first human tests that are being done, just to show its application as like negating disability and giving people a better standard of life. And you're right, Elon has been open to it, and he has said that this technology can potentially untap parts of the human brain that are not in use at the moment, like photographic memory and things like that. There are going to be advantages for everyone to have this, but to their credit, they are looking at the trials with disabled people to begin with. And I think that's good because it's showing that although this is great for everyone, it has some real benefits to those who do want to go into it. So I
I
don't
think
think it's a
it,
bad thing.
I think it'll start with, well, they've started with quadriplegic people, haven't they? Like the first
Mm.
two patients at least. I'm not sure about the third one. Were quadriplegic and they've got sort of some of the neurofunctions. I think they're able to like use a computer using simply just thought. They're able to play like video games and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's good in that respect. But I think whilst it's good for helping people with a disability, down the line, Elon's probably got to think, or at least their marketing department's got to think, this is the new phone.
Mm.
You won't have to do anything with the touch of your hand or buttons anymore. You can just think it and it will happen.
Yeah. And that's, I think there will be some negatives and some scary things that we will talk about in a bit, but I think that's what they're thinking about, like phone in your head and stuff like that. And like with the animal trials, they've had successful with a chimp where they put the Neuralink in and then a prosthetic arm, like a mechanical arm, and it works. This sort of stuff works. So in theory, you could have a paraplegic person put mechanical legs on them, and with the Neuralink chip, it'd be like anyone who you don't even think about moving your legs, you just move them. And essentially, that's what the idea is, because you don't have to have an active thought. It would just be a passive thought, and your legs will work. They'll just be made of metal and gears and stuff like that. And then the application for blinkies as well. Like there's no real limit to what this can do. And because of that, you can market it to everyone. Like imagine watching a film in your head. It's fully possible.
Selena, imagine watching a film.
Yeah. It's a novel thought. It's been a while. Um, I don't know. I'm a bit torn on it all though, to be honest. Like if you invest in an iPhone, for example, and then you want to change, you can move to an Android. Whereas with this, once you're invested in the technology, you're then reliant and dependent on them for life, really. You know, if someone's put a chip in your brain, it's not very easy to get one of those changed. And what happens if
Oh,
the company goes bust? What happens if it, malfunctions all of a sudden? You get it for a while and then they're like, we're not going to update this anymore. We can't be bothered. We're not interested.
do you think this will be
Um,
the race war 3,000 years down the line? There'll just be like people with Microsoft chips in the head, people with Apple chips in the head, and people with like X chip, Neuralink chips in the head,
yeah.
and it's just like,
Potentially. This is one of the criticisms that I have heard about this. And Celine, you're absolutely right. And Elon has already admitted this. And there are other competitors, not just Neuralink. There are others doing this, and in some ways better than what Neuralink is doing. When Neuralink is special, the operation that's just done by a robot essentially puts threads that are like 20 times thinner than a human hair onto the brain. And then the chip is sort of in a casing outside the skull. So the chip isn't on the brain, it's the infrastructure they're putting in, and then the chip is there. The reason they've done that is because that's the thing they can upgrade. And that's where the criticism of, okay, does that mean in 2 years it's going to be 5 times better? And now
Mm.
I have to pay another £5,000 to go in for you to basically have this robot take the chip out and put it in because it won't be as good.
Absolutely.
And yeah, that's where it's going to get. That's where they make their money
There'll be
because
Yeah.
people that get one every year that queue up outside of the Neuralink shop just to get one.
yeah, that's it. Even with the first patient, they put a new chip in because he had some malfunctions from the first clinical trial.
Didn't they?
And
I heard they moved it because 85% of the threads
yeah,
started not to work, potentially due to like an air pocket or
yeah,
potentially just due to the limitations of the chip itself.
yeah. And this is a trial. Like that's what it's for. It's to test this sort of thing. A trial isn't to cure and show how great they are, although it is. This is also a bit of like it's testing. That's what it is. And the guy knew this. And they had to move it. I think they did change the chip a little bit just so that it had more efficient. It was just more efficient with what it was doing, and now it's working better than the original one.
I know they did
But
that with the second patient.
yeah,
They made it slightly different. It was a bit more bespoke to them. But then obviously, as time goes on, it's going to get better, isn't it?
that's it. And that's where
Painful. How painful is it having all of these procedures?
That's a good point. But at the same time, if you're looking at the medical standpoint,
Yeah.
is that painful as well?
Yep.
yeah,
I haven't had like personally, I haven't had a painful procedure, obviously with an eye like yourself, but it was uncomfortable in other ways.
hmm.
Yeah.
Plus changing it, I don't think would be painful because if we're talking about what Neuralink does, and that's basically obstructing or causing neurons to fire, which is what the brain does, you could have it stop pain receptors while you did the operation and receptors for being uncomfortable. You wouldn't need anesthesia in theory
You
because
still
you
have
could
to have
just
like a
have it do
surgeon
it.
to do all these things though, even to put the chip in and that though.
So a robot,
Is it?
yeah, done with a robot. With Neuralink, it's a robot that's been specifically trained to do it because they need to be able to attach the tethers to places that are like the brain moves quite a lot and like the fibers and like the neural pathways they change and they move and adapt. So a robot is the only way they can do it, apparently,
Mm.
because a surgeon wouldn't be quick enough or good enough to see the changes.
If we're talking of speed, right, just taking it back to the medical versus technology aspect,
Mm.
I think technology seems to be moving faster than medicine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like I remember like people talking about having a cure for RP when I was like 10 years old.
yeah,
I can tell you I'm not 10 years old anymore, and it ain't really any
Amazing.
closer. I think they had like one clinical trial for it like a couple of years back.
yeah,
But I think it's more eye medical advancements are a lot slower than, say, ears, for example, with like cochlear implants. So, like, how many years ahead of cures for the eyes? Eyes seem to be much more complex, whereas like a cochlear implant is kind of solved. But yeah,
She
yeah,
says to all the deaf people out there.
yeah, I
yeah,
know, I know.
Practically
yeah,
solved.
yeah,
Basically just a wheelchair,
yeah,
you don't even need
completed. Yeah,
legs. It's like
But actually, when to be honest, cochlear implants are amazing. Like obviously, I see people that in football and part of the deaf squad that have these implants, and their speech and everything is so clear, and you wouldn't know that they have a hearing impairment. Obviously, they don't have perfect hearing even with their cochlear in, but yeah, it's pretty amazing technology that.
mm. No,
come a
and
long way again very quickly, hasn't it? But that would you say that's
Mm,
technology though, right? Over
mm,
medicine?
yeah,
yes, technology.
They've not like cured deafness effectively. They've
no,
just
No, and I think that's the issue, and things are moving so slow. And I was told that stem cells would potentially solve my
mm,
condition, and that was over 20 years ago.
whatever happened to stem cells?
They are still used, but I think
yeah,
like they've burnt out the hype on them being useful. I think they oversold what they could be potentially useful for, to the point where now they're like they're not actually as good as we thought they were. I think it was just a pipe dream of the medical field, and then the reality of it was they're not as useful as they thought they were going to be. But then technology, it always has to get better, especially in competition, because Neuralink aren't the only ones. Like when it comes to the brain chips, competition is going to drive technology faster and will make it cheaper. And if you can get around the whole thing, well, why do I need things like stem cells to cure my vision if I can just wear a pair of glasses with a camera in it, which wirelessly goes to my brain chip and just shows me everything that's in front of me? Like,
Now, I'm not 100% sure that what I'm about to say is correct, but it definitely feels like there's less laws and things like that surrounding technology than there is medicine.
Mm.
You don't have to go through X amount
yeah.
of like clinical trials, then like first in humans, and then all of that to get something passed. Whereas technology, it's like, well, we're just working on the actual technology, and then the human part, obviously you've still got to do trials, but I don't know how much that is regulated compared to, actual medicine, if you like.
So I did look this up, and with Neuralink, I don't know about the others, but with Neuralink, they had to go through FDA approval, and it was quite stringently done. They've taken a lot of criticism for their animal testing and how
Mm.
many animals have died, which they throw a number out like 35,000 animals have died in the tests. But then you have to take that with a pinch of salt, and also like sometimes you have to do an autopsy on animals to see like long-term effects, because you can't, like if you put a chip in the brain of a pig 3 years later, like you can't necessarily take it out without killing it, but also you can't leave the pig alive because you need to know what the effect on the brain is in 3 years, and you need to do that autopsy because you need to know if you put this in a human that it's not melting their brain over the space of 3 years. So it is a lot more complex than potentially what the fantastical headlines are saying. So
Just
that
think of the
there is,
delicious roast cob you could have with a bit of applesauce. Mm-mm. Dig out the silicon and it'd be
yeah,
fine.
yeah. But there are things that are involved with that, and I'm not sure how strict it is. I just know that they have to go through certain things, but there are other ethical sides of it. Just 'cause I want to bring the Neuralink stuff to a close because there are some other little
Yeah.
bits we can talk about. One of the things that I saw criticism of is that there's not a lot of regulation on this, and we need to get the regulation sorted before this can go into mass production. Because essentially, you're having a wireless computer put in your head, which can't be, well, in theory, like any phone or tablet or computer, what's stopping someone hacking that wirelessly?
Ooh,
Oh
good
God.
point. I never thought
They,
about that.
what if
That's
they turn it
scary.
off?
Ah.
What if it becomes self-aware?
Yeah, yeah. What if they turn your chip off and then like you're wearing prosthetic legs and then your legs just stop working? What
What
if
if
Or
they
they give
start
make you
you,
attacking
see
you?
things,
yeah,
these things that they could make up what you see and you think it's real and they could, oh my God,
And you'd be killing your
crazy.
own dog or
yeah.
family.
Oh my God.
And this is the brain as well. In theory, people could shut down your heart because that's a neural, like that's central nervous system. They could shut down your organs,
Okay,
kill
I'm
you.
stop doing this. I'm so against all of this now.
So that's where there's a lot of lobbying of we need to have safeguards. There has to be so much like more safeguards and things and policies and things put in place than ever before in anything, because this could be very dangerous. It could be very dangerous.
Yeah, but
And
by the time you get to like the thousandth tester, let's call them the T1000 or something like that, then you should have worked
uh,
out all of those problems, right?
yeah, that's the thing. It we're still in the early days, and much like with everything else, like the whole scaremongering over the internet when that was starting to be pushed, like there was a lot of, oh, what if little Timmy gets nuclear codes? You know what I mean? Like that stuff was spoken about back then, and it never really happened.
Oh,
Like
the
this,
internet is a dark place though. There's a lot of bad things that go on.
yeah. But all I'm saying is we're early days, and these are important conversations that people need to be having. But I think you can't stop progress based on suspected bad things because if you can suspect them, you can stop them. So
Yeah.
that's one of the big criticisms that I did see about this.
Just think of the benefits though, right? You could be a teenager, let's say like 18 years old, sitting in like college class, listening to professor speaking about, I don't know, business, and you're just watching porn in your head.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, the other little criticism was it makes us all the same. It takes because if you think like people are made up, your uniqueness is made up of your traits, what you know, what you don't know, like gaps in technology and like
But
not
I'd argue
technology,
that's going that
gaps
way now
gaps in
anyway, because
knowledge.
all information is at your fingertips.
Hmm.
True, but if let's say like electricians, for example, they have to have a certain amount of qualifications, experience, that sort of thing.
True, but you could just Google it.
You
Hmm.
could, but let's say you didn't need to, and this Neuralink could implant 3 years of electrician's knowledge and experience in your head immediately. So you're as good as anyone that you can find on the internet to come over and do your stuff. That industry's dead. You've killed that industry.
Yeah, but then you'd also have probably other industries growing out of that, like, people maintaining chips, or imagine the people at the iPhone store now, at the iChip store,
Yeah,
Hmm.
the geniuses working on that. Because effectively, the only knowledge you would need is like tech knowledge, right? You'd have to like
yeah,
improve and work on things like that and stuff that hasn't already existed. That's like the most valuable knowledge now.
yeah.
Anything that's like history, you can get on the internet for
Mm,
free. It's more about the
yeah,
creative side of things now and what you could possibly do with things in the future.
yeah. And one other positive thing about it, which I did also see before we move on to some other bits, this will literally save people's lives because let's say someone has a heart attack and their heart stops working and they're at home. The Neuralink, in theory, can kickstart a heart again. It can
All right,
fire an
Motley Crue.
impulse to start a heart. So it can bring people back from the dead, in theory, as well. So you would have a lot of needless deaths from like heart attacks or strokes
They
because
should
it
call
would,
it the cranberry trip. It's in your
yeah,
head and you're a zombie.
yeah. Jesus. So anyway, there's a lot of positives, there's a lot of negatives. We are in the early stage, but it's in a couple of years, it's done more than medicine have done for me in my entire life so far. But let's get out of the head because there are some other things. Now,
Go on. Yeah.
You were
mi-
waiting.
yep. So, Mr. Ray-Ban's Cleaves.
I've taken them off now because I realized that you could see my computer screen in my large lenses,
Yeah.
which you could always see, to be fair. But I think since moving, yeah. Anywho,
Yeah. So, Meta, the company behind Facebook, another billionaire tyrant, old Zucks himself. Meta have teamed up with Ray-Bans to make smart sunglasses called the Ray-Ban Meta Smart Glasses. Original idea.
cool name, bro.
Cool name. What these are, they look just like regular Ray-Bans glasses. They're not those big clunky, like if you think like Orcam and things like that. These just are regular sunglasses with a tiny little camera in it, and then AI built in, which links to your phone, and then it uses that bone conducting technology that you've got the headphones for, Selena.
Mhm.
And it uses that so that you can interface with AI by using the phrase, I think it's like meta, what's in front of me, and it'll just tap into using seeing AI and bone conduct that information through your glasses into your head. So it's not planted in your head, but basically having a very discrete AI on your face.
Hmm.
Well, that
I
doesn't
don't
sound like it'd work all that well. Sounds like a
know.
lot of moving
Mm.
parts.
So as a inception, as a first draft of this, it looks quite good, but it's also very, there are issues to it. You're right to think so because there are. If you want to know more about those, Sam from the Blind Life recently reviewed these glasses, and he had some good things to say and some not so good things to say. But they look like normal sunglasses. And I think that's the important thing. They don't look like ridiculous, like you
I'm
wouldn't
not
know.
gonna look like a proper blind person wearing sunglasses. I don't know, it's not my look.
They also have clear lenses as well.
If I don't want
So
to wear, yeah, but you look stupid walking with your guide dog wearing glasses. Shit, like
You know, T wears glasses, right? And has had a guide dog for several years. It's just that was just uncalled for.
wow.
to be, I'm conscious. I'm
Uh,
just saying.
A lot of people
Wow.
with guide dogs have
I know
glasses. That
this
is
is
so
true.
bad,
I
Selena.
know,
Wow.
but I kind of understand why they get a bit of stick and funny looks probably from the public
Yeah,
because
but
I have glasses and use a cane. So is that the same thing?
I don't know. You can understand it more of a cane than a dog. I don't know.
Can you?
Anyway, that's different topic, different day.
wow.
So what is your point?
What was my point? I
Other
didn't
than
want to
hurting my
wear
You don't like the
feelings.
style of the Ray-Bans.
I didn't want to wear Stevie Wonder glasses. So that was my
Well, now
point.
we're never getting him on, and I was so close.
Uh,
I just don't want to wear glasses. But that's my point. I can't see like why am I going to wear glasses of any description, AI
Okay, by
technology.
that
okay.
logic then, T, with the whole bone conducting thing, right?
Hmm.
Do you have to have some sort of sight for these glasses to work?
No.
It's basically
Right.
wearing a camera on your face, isn't it? And you just don't have to hold it. That's all it is.
True. I do get it.
A classic Selena disdain for
Yeah.
something.
The point of this is more that if you're someone who likes the style of Ray-Bans, and a lot of people do, then the camera in them and the battery in them are so discreet they look like any other Ray-Ban sunglasses. You wouldn't know differently. And because they've got like AI in them and stuff like that, you can just have them read things out to you, like a menu. Like Sam got it to read a document to him. Like he just said, like, read this to me. And people around him couldn't hear that because it's using bone conducting into his ears instead of
Yeah, but
speakers.
people around him could hear him go, read this
Read,
to me.
yeah, exactly. And what's the difference with just wearing headphone, AirPods or whatever?
Because it doesn't have the
Because,
camera in the AirPods.
yeah,
No, but I mean, you still got to say, just if you say to your phone, you don't even have to get your phone out and stuff with that kind of thing. They've got microphones built in, isn't it? So read this to me. It was doing the same job.
yeah.
Why do you have to wear these silly glasses?
You're so,
Don't show your hand too
so against
much.
these glasses, aren't you?
I mean, Ray-Bans are welcome to send me a free pair to try out.
After you slammed them, absolutely not. I just paid a shitload of money for my Ray-Bans. If anything, they should send me a pair.
Yeah, they
I
should.
tell you what, I bet they're fucking more expensive than my glasses.
They are $600 US.
So actually, not that much, much more
Not that
Once
expensive.
you add
much
your
more.
lenses in them, though.
Yeah, that's a good
About
point.
your
Yeah, actually, yeah,
lenses.
that'd be frame alone. Yeah,
Yeah.
lenses on top. I'm looking close to a K, aren't I? Jesus.
So,
Okay.
yeah. So wearable, like combining with AI, we've covered AI before, not
Do you
going to
think I
go
can
into
get them
this.
on access to work?
Maybe. But there's the next thing that I want to talk about. And this is also in the Blinky wheelhouse, and this is much more of an interesting access to work.
Sorry, just going back to those glasses, I think they have also got a partnership with Be My Eyes. I did see launch that they're linking up together. I'm sure it was those glasses, so you can connect to a human as well with them, who I
Good.
guess are seeing out of your vision, and you can say, "What's here?" Blah blah blah.
Yeah. So when you've got your hands full, like with a guide dog, and then maybe you've got a carrier bag, and you can just use it through there and not have to get your phone out, and someone could just guide you from your eye line
I mean, you
perspective.
probably have to activate Be My Eyes through your phone.
Well, no,
But
because you've got an AI assistant in them.
how does it work? What happens if it like picks up what other people are saying around you,
What, you
and
mean
you
like your
get
phone?
random information?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
but
can.
your phone is like you activate it, Siri, blah 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 blah. Or
Well,
Well,
maybe you
yeah,
could give it a specific name. You could be like Selina P, eyes on.
Well, you have to say, "Hey, Meta." Like,
Oh,
Oh.
okay. A
yeah,
meta. Walking around like, I'm not sold on it. Yeah, very bad. Please feel free to send me a pair to try.
But
no,
still, taking it back to the medical thing, more than medicine's done in a long time.
yep.
Hmm.
They haven't cured anything like that. Like, even if you just use your phone, this is just like having the ability on, like, to be able to look in a direction of something and it be able to read it to you. I can see the utility of it for myself. I think there's still a long way to go with it. But even reading a bus timetable,
How will I know where the bus timetable is?
You won't. You're
because
just looking at it on your phone.
you say find the box with your guide dog, and then if it's a good guide dog, it'll find it.
But you wouldn't know because the timetable would be online, wouldn't you? And you just go, "Hey Meta,
Yeah.
read me the 44 timetable or something."
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then it read every single time off from
Oh.
6 a.m. in the morning to the 9 p.m. for every single bus, for every stop.
Well, that's where the AI will come in, hopefully. I mean, it's not that good yet, but in theory, the AI will be able to be more specific with what you potentially would want down the line.
Okay. So, what was your next product?
Yeah.
Okay. The next
Do
one
you know
was,
what the worst thing about this is, T? You've come with a lot today, and I
Yeah,
think you're holding this episode up quite well. Selena's
I
done nothing but badmouth it.
I haven't done any research.
I know, this is what I mean.
it's fine, I'm used to
I
it.
tell you what she's done this week, just to mess with people. She's kept the light on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I went for the light today, not the curtains. Oh, now I know about sunset.
See the YouTube video or last week's stream for that hilarity. So the last thing there was a fair bit to look at, but I want to keep it a bit more in our wheelhouse. The We Walk cane. Now, there is the other one as well, which I can't remember the name of off the top of my
The
head.
wow we walk.
The Borat version. So the We Walk cane, Smart Cane, Cleavs, you've tried it, or the competitor Site Village last year,
Yeah, I tried the OG one, yeah.
and thought it was fine, but you didn't have a lot of time with it. So
No, I would have to, which they offer anyway, but I felt like I'd have to get retrained with it.
yeah. Now, We Walk 2 is on for pre-order and is coming up very shortly. I think it's next month. So October 2024. Now, the interesting thing with this is the first WeWalk, good technology. I hear good things, but it was very clunky. The handle looked like a robot penis. Let's be fair. It was like white and silver with buttons and knobs all over it. The WeWalk 2 looks like a normal long cane. They've basically put the technology in the form factor of a long cane with the buttons being quite flush to the handle. It weighs the same as a standard long cane. Could they put the technology for the entire cane, not just a handle now? Now, I want to get my hands on this to give it a proper test because I'm interested in what this is. But with this, it will, in theory, like I said, I've not tried it, but tell you about obstacles to left and right based on zonal vibrations, obstacles overhead through zonal vibrations, and various things like in front of you. Like based on what the haptic feedback is, it will tell you where there are obstacles. They are embracing the AI because who isn't? So that it will be able to link up with your Google Maps and give you navigation through vibration, as well as your public transport links, where it does have a speaker in it and will be able to talk to you. Again, people will hear you, I guess, but it looks like a big jump forwards
Yeah, and at least you won't
with,
have to wear any pair of stupid glasses.
yeah,
I mean, I hate to be a cold-hearted cynic, but all these
No, you don't.
vibrations, isn't it just going to give you like arthritis in your wrists and your hands like way before your time?
No, it's like a vibrating chair. It relaxes your wrists.
yeah,
Really, when you're going over all those cracks in the pavement, and then you get
yeah.
like,
Then you can get a Neuralink to fix your wrist. You'll be fine. So the Wii Walk, it looks interesting. I can't go into much detail about it. It's not out yet. We haven't tested it. I have gone to them about getting a review unit, but I don't know if that's ever going to happen. But I think what I want to go with this is comparatively to the first WeWalk that only came out a couple of years back.
That people paid a lot of money for and now going to be stuck with this old technology that's really
Well,
clunky.
if you go to their pre-order page, it's £100 cheaper if you pre-order it, so it's 600 instead of 700.
Oh yeah,
And if you
bargain.
trade in the old one, they knock 200 quid off as well. So they are doing what they can to try and pay it back, but obviously they've got that overheads as well. Like these things can't be cheap to make. So say 700, it's 400 if you have one of the previous ones.
Okay.
I'd
Okay,
also say this is what your fucking pips for.
it is. Here's what I'm going to say, bringing it back to the medical versus technology thing.
Mm,
In theory, in all of this, a medical is a one and done,
Mm,
assuming that it works.
yeah.
Like, you know,
yeah.
medical conditions I appreciate can come back sometimes, but you know, cancer or cataracts or whatever, two very different ones there, but they both begin with a C.
Yeah.
Um, whereas these don't necessarily solve the systemic issue.
No.
No.
All they do is make life livable for your disability.
Mm.
So maybe
I
medicine is worth trying. I'm just trying to like balance that out.
yeah.
Mm, yeah. Why
Yeah.
spend all this money on all this technology that will enhance your life when, say, you can get your retina reattached or something?
Mm.
I agree. But as we've established, medicine is moving so slow to the point that I've been told there won't be a cure or treatment for my condition in my lifetime. And I was told that when I was 30. Now, assuming I live to 80, which I don't know, let's assume
With
I
your
do.
diet?
Yeah. This
I joke.
archery diet.
And no stairs?
Yeah. Fucking hell, I'm lucky if I'd live another 30 days. Um, but just to basically be told that with 50 years, it's basically me thinking, well, so basically you're resigning that you're not going to sort anything for 50 years. And it's so slow that I just think, at least with technology, it's coming along so quickly that maybe it is the better way forwards. And if we can get a fix down the line, great. I think that is a good way of doing it. And I wouldn't be opposed to Neuralink, potentially, down the line. I'm not going to be a one of the trial people, but
Well,
give
you're
it
not
10 years.
quadriplegic, so
Well, no,
I can make
but
that happen for you if you want.
no, I've
I
got my
can grease
stairs,
up
mate.
those steps further.
How greasy enough. Yeah, and there might be some blood in them now as well. So, yeah, extra grease. But I think medicine is still an option. It definitely is. But there's only so quickly they can go. And like you said at the beginning, Cleves, like although there is money to be made there, there's no reason for them to hurry along with it. Like with technology, they're competitive. They all want to be better, cheaper, make the most money. They're competitive with it. Even with like electric cars, you can get a Tesla for 40 grand now. The first ones came out were like 150.
Yeah.
Yeah, medical like sort of research requires funding often from various different bodies, whereas technology companies, it's their baby. So they're like they'll plow the money into it straight away if they think it's a good idea.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think, yeah,
I think the downside, though, with technology and the cost associated with it, you're going to get disabled people demanding they need more benefits.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, to pay for it.
potentially.
They were like, oh, this is what we need to make our lives better. Therefore, we need £10,000 per month minimum
Mm,
to keep my Neuralink alive and my Weeble cane and my Ray-Ban AIs.
potentially. I mean, there could we could have a class disparity based on this. It could
Mm.
organically cause classes based on the people who have the money to pay for the latest stuff, as opposed to people who can't have anything, can't afford anything, and all the stuff in between.
The thing is, though,
Um,
you could always say like you might demand more benefits, but there's always the option that if you want better things out of life. You could always get a job.
Yeah. And Pip is
The
not
seesaw
scaled to your
way.
work. Yeah. Pip isn't scaled to your work, and it's there to make your life easier. And the WeWalk and the Ray-Bans glasses are cheaper than, well, that they one Pip payment for a person on the higher rate on both. And if you're totally blind, if you're not on that, you should look into it.
Mhm.
Providing you don't have a mobility vehicle, which does take some of that money, it's just 1 month's PIP will pay for your glasses. 1 month's PIP will pay for your WeWalk game. And that's what it's kind of there to do.
Oh, it's 100% there for that.
Hmm.
It's not there for your Uber Eats and your holidays and stuff. It's there for this stuff. So the government would debatably say, well, what's happened to all that money that you're allowed to save £16,000 for? You know, show us your receipts for all the technology and things and all the things you've done to make your life accessible. And will it add up to that amount? I don't know. And I'm saying that as a man who doesn't use all of his PIP money necessarily for like
See, you can't say that on
accessibility
air.
things.
Do you want me to blank that out for you?
Yeah.
I
I
know what
mean,
you're saying, T. You have
yeah,
like 2 pence left, don't you, at the end of each
yeah,
week? Yeah. So it's
yeah.
basically not worth anything. At this point, you
No,
can
no,
barely
no.
go down to a Skegness arcade and put it in. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Exactly. And how am
Yeah.
I even getting that out? I mean, come on.
Yeah, well, you get some crappy
Mhm.
prizes, won't you? You know, you get some like sherbet or, you know,
Yeah,
a key ring that you'll eventually just throw in the bin as soon as you get home.
yeah, exactly. Well, there we go. I thought it'd be an interesting chat. I think technology is going to do more than medicine will quicker. But should medicine stop? No, it shouldn't. Like,
Medicine,
especially if it's,
it's one of those things, isn't it? It cures it solves the problem, whereas I would say technology manages the symptoms.
Mm.
depends on the condition, but yes, I agree. Like Neuralink can potentially stop you having a seizure if you have epilepsy by just blocking, like it can listen for it, and then if a seizure's coming on, stop it happening. To
Take
me,
a medication though, can't it? A tablet a day maybe can also stop a seizure.
mm, true, but what if you didn't have
Plus,
to
if
take the medication with all the side effects?
plus if you cure epilepsy, this is what I mean, deep down at its root problem, then you're not going to
Mm.
have seizures. Seizures is you know what I mean, is like a symptom of whatever it
Yeah,
is that's causing
Mm.
the problem, right? So,
true. But our big pharma making enough money off of these medications that it's not an incentive for them to cure it.
no, they made enough of Oxy.
Mm. Well, there we have it. Let us know your thoughts listening at home. We want to know what technology you maybe would like to see. Do you think Neuralink would be good for you or any of these other brain chips or whatever they're going to be? Like, there's some other things like spinal chips and things. Would you get one? What would you use it for? Let us know. Send us a message.
Would you get closed boots and a motorcycle? And specifically in Selena's case, sunglasses.
But not Ray-Bans. Nike.
Well,
Just no
actually,
glasses.
if you had to wear a pair of glasses, Selena, just before we go,
Mm.
what glasses would you wear?
I do have sunglasses that I had to when well, did athletics. You obviously have to be blindfolded, and instead of wearing a big blindfold, you can wear glasses that are just blacked out. I do have some nice sporty ones.
What brand?
I want to say they were Oakley's, but don't quote me.
Were you
And
sponsored
equally
by them? You can
expensive than
say it
that.
now.
No, I wasn't.
Were you ever sponsored?
No, not
Hmm.
no. I've had generous donations and funding of certain different levels from different bodies, but I've
If you
never
ever
had
got by into
proper
athletics, and I can't imagine you will, soon, you
sponsor.
know, I'll sponsor you. I'll put Cecil branding. I'd literally, get your t-shirt printed.
I mean, I've got my hoodie.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I expect you to wear that everywhere.
Nice. Nice. Right. Well, until next time, goodbye everyone on Twitch. Goodbye everyone at home. And we'll catch you in the next one.
Goodbye.
yeah.
That's the old one.
Thank you for listening to Seesaw Podcast. Your feedback and comments mean a lot to us, so if you'd like to get in touch, you can do so in the following ways.
You can find us on X at Seesaw Pod, Facebook, Instagram and YouTube at Seesaw Podcast. You can email us at seesawpodcast@gmail.com and you can stream with us live every week on Twitch at Seesaw Podcast.
Remember to like, rate, review and share with a friend.
This podcast was recorded in front of a blind audience.